Oops. I just pulled my webcam down. Does it still work? Just a second. Yeah, it still works. What up? You good?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's up?
I'm on.
Never spoke to you before, that's fine. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good.
Good, good. Glad you're doing well. So, what's the conversation again?
People think that I was wrong for making McConnell roll on the tier 2 helmet, and they think that I should have defaulted the tier 2 helmet to him.
Well, my perspective is just rolling in general is just a bad idea, especially in vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say, like, just right off the bat baseline, that's kind of like immediately going to cause drama because you're giving loot to people that objectively just don't deserve it. And loot is very scarce in vanilla. You have to be prioritizing the people who are going to be there long term.
Well, what if you have two people that are going to be there long term?
Well, obviously, then, that's where loot council comes into play, or, some sort of EPE, GP system. And I think for the helmet, it's a bit touchy. I think both sides have valid points. But at the end of the day, at least from my perspective, I'd say, considering the two blue options that you have for Holy Paladin, I don't see why you wouldn't give it to a ret. I think it was like a month and a half ago you were looking at raid logs, and there was that one ret Paladin who was rocking like a full spell power set, right?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, and he was obviously doing really well, and as a ret Paladin, unless you get access to those items, like you're not viable. Like ret Paladin struggle until tier 2.5, right?
Well, no. Hey, I wouldn't say that. I think paladins start scaling down at that point. Like physical,
well, they scale down in respect to other people. Like they're not able to keep up with the power creep from other classes, but they're upward.
But
they have upward
build,
momentum.
right now, physical build is I think better. Like spell power is good in like uncertain like AoE strategies and stuff, but like I think spell power, if spell power is gonna be like flat out better, I don't think it'll be until like you can get like full tier 2. I mean, I don't know, like the jury's still out on it, right? But so far, like from what I saw, and kind of like the general consensus, it's like yes, like physical build is better still, early on. But like that's not really the point, right? Like the point is
maybe I'm a bit biased. I would just give McConnell everything. I'd give him hand to rag in full tier 2.
Well, we're giving him hand to rag. He's getting it. Yeah, he's getting it. I don't know. To me, I feel like Paladin was like one of our main healers. He leveled up with me. He played all the way through. He's one of the officers. He, helps coordinate raids. He puts a lot of effort into the guild, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And with all of those things that he had done, I think that he absolutely deserved to at least roll on the item.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm not arguing against that. You guys only had one helmet?
Well, no, we had another helmet drop and McConnell got it. Like McConnell got it later on. I reserved the helmet for him later on.
Too much of an issue with that.
Yeah, it's just he just wanted to win the helmet, get the first helmet, right? I mean, because I don't know. I feel like the whole idea, because like the reason why the reason why I keep bringing it up and talking about it is I feel like people just like keep saying stuff that I don't feel like is true. And
well, I wanted to talk about that, and I didn't honestly come in this conversation to talk about the tier 2 helm. The tier 2 helm, honestly, it goes both ways. My perspective, the reason I wanted to get added is because you wanted people to tell you what you felt you were doing wrong, right? Or you were laying out your perspective and saying, like, how is that flawed logic? And here's what I have to say. So, first of all, the examples that you're giving are from a prot warrior perspective, right? So you're saying I rolled on loot, I didn't take things for myself, but you're a prot warrior. There's maybe one or maybe two other people that you're rolling for items on. So, 3 weeks of raiding and you guys are all geared. There's not much competition out there. But then when it comes to your warlock, that's something completely different. And you took robes of volatile power away from a mage as a warlock. Robes of volatile power are trash on warlock.
Are you sure?
You don't use because once you get warlocks
because the 1% hit on the chest.
Warlocks need spell hit. That's all warlocks need. Warlocks don't have a talent that gives them improved spell hit. Mages do, and mages go fire where they need to roll ignites. So mages use robes of volatile power till tier 3, which is Nax, obviously, right? And that's 4 horsemen, which is deep into Nax.
Well, but hold on. A lot of them aren't going fire yet, anyway.
Well, I want to. I can write all this off.
It's objectively the best. It's objectively the best chess throughout the entire game, and it's also better on paladins.
Yeah.
So
it is.
The perspective of I'm not taking anything for myself is, I'd say, a bit flawed.
Oh no, I agree with you. If you want to talk about like any of my alt characters,
You can't just like gloss over.
Well, the
that
alt characters. I mean,
that never happened.
Here's something else though. It's like you did that on your alt character, and it's like, look, if like people know what the loot rule is, and it's like if they don't want to join, then they just don't want to join, right? Like I know, like we had people who were like socials in my guild who.
Well,
like
I'm
they
okay.
Came in your run.
I'm okay with people who are frustrated or mad because I geared out my alt. That's fine, right? I think that really the thing that I was frustrated about is people that conflated that with me being like bored of the content or something like that, or not saying there was a lot of content and saying, oh well, that's because
content drought.
Yeah, that's because you geared up your character through like all these streamer benefits things, which is not true because the existence of that warlock and the existence of the rogue is entirely based off of the fact that I ran out of content on my warrior. Like I ran out of things to farm and get.
Let's say we look at Stay Safe, for example.
Mm-hmm.
His entire stream, he does everything by himself. You know what I mean? Like he works for everything that he has.
Mm-hmm.
He's made thousands and thousands of gold from Maradon farming. He's been farming mats for PvP, setting up all his banks. I'm in his guild. He's a great guild leader. He micromanages everything. He we have a ton of structure in the guild. He's created a pretty strong stream around actually playing the game, and he's got content because it's like playing Classic. Every day you log in, you have something new to do. There's like, what's the goal today? I have to work towards this.
Well, is it really something new to do? I mean, like
you have to admit that you've worked towards pretty much nothing. Like you want to mount.
Well, to be fair, I did farm out.
Like you don't work for anything. You have no goals.
I farmed out the chess piece
there's
that
no
I
content.
had. Yeah, I farmed out the chess piece that I had. I farmed out all the raid stuff, etc.
Semi-AFK doing arenas just over and over again. Like
yeah. I mean, like, is that really that much more difficult or challenging than farming Maradon all day?
Maradon farming is actually like micro intensive. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You're trying to pump out as many per hour. Like the people who are efficiently doing 12-minute runs.
Oh yeah.
Are actually like doing almost like speed runs. They know exactly what they're doing.
I'm sure
every step that they take.
I'm sure they're very good at doing the runs. You're right about that. But I think that like really the way that I approach Classic and everything is basically is I wanted to be able to provide like the best content possible for the stream, and I think that everybody could pretty much agree like farming Maradon all day isn't really very good content, and that's why I chose not to do it. And,
well, it's just everybody plays the game differently.
Well, it's not really about that. I mean, it's just simply that it's not good content for the viewers. And
I think the best content that you have is the social dynamic in your guild, and honestly, when I've tuned in the most has been when you're doing like the judge jury type thing where people are sending you mail and you're talking with people. Like that's, in my opinion, the best content that you've put out.
I agree. I think
Classic.
It's really funny too.
And like that's kind of what I feel like you've taken a bit of a backseat in leading your own guild. I think there's a lot of people, there's people who have joined our guild from Olympus that have complained about it.
I really struggle with being able to do that, like, and then also stream. That's true.
A big part of the video that I made yesterday was to get you motivated to do that, because I felt as though you have the potential to do a lot more than you're doing. You have the potential to really organize your guild, create a structured
spoilers!
unit.
He hasn't seen it. I haven't seen it either, but he hasn't seen it.
Right. Well, I'm not really saying too much. But the point is like you can be doing a lot more. You can be super productive. Like there's a lot that you can do as a guild leader. That's great content. That's not just farming Maradon. Like you could have bank alts, and, investing in shit, and like setting up groups, whatever. Like you could do so much to actually affect the server, which would impact all of us as Alliance. And I feel like you don't do that.
Well,
as a viewer,
go ahead.
I think we all know that that's not who Asmon is. Like, let's be real here. Like, that's not what we, like, that's not his content.
Well, he defines that. I don't know, maybe, what do you think about that, Asmon? Is that not who you are?
I mean, it depends, right? I mean, I think that really what I've always prioritized more than anything is the enjoyment of the viewers, right? Are the viewers enjoying the content? Are they liking the content? Is it fun for them, etc.? And if that's the case, then I'd consider it a success. And whenever I focus on that, that's really what matters the most. More than anything, more than, you know, any sort of other, like, you know, making people happy or anything like that.
That wasn't supposed to be a roast, man. I was just saying, like, you know, we don't watch you for, you know, gold farming or micromanaging the guild and shit.
Well, I'm telling you, that's what I watch him. I only find it interesting when there's drama, when there's, honestly, McConnell not being part of the stream. It sucks for me. He's by far my favorite part of the stream. I like you a lot, Asmongold. Obviously, I'm not saying
McConnell
I don't like you, but
listen,
McConnell is my favorite part of the stream. He adds so much character, so much flavor to the stream.
I agree. I'd love to have McConnell come back. Like,
when you guys bring people in Discord and you're like hashing things out and figuring out what to do, and like all of that is, from my perspective, the best part of the stream. And I don't know how your chat thinks about it, but that's my perspective.
Well, I agree. I wish that McConnell would come back. That's why I've apologized to him. I've talked to him. Right? It's up to him. I think that he might just be burned out on the drama more than anything. I mean, I think that he's done that before. He's just taken a break, and that's, you know, it's up to him. But the
drama's become a bit toxic.
Well, it is, right? I think whenever
because
drama
it's gone
becomes...
this whole thing with Advertise, and I think you've taken a bit of a defensive position where, you know, I think rather than, you know, I think you've felt sorry for yourself a little bit. Like, I don't want to be too antagonistic here or anything, but like,
probably
I feel like you probably have a bit of a role in that as well.
I mean, you're probably right, man. Like, I do to an extent. Like, it's just, to me, right, it's like if I'm like constantly like reading stuff like that all the time, it just gets to me. I think it'd get to anybody, and I want to get people to like see my perspective, and that's really the only thing that I care about, is like just getting people to like see where I'm coming from and just like listen to what I'm saying, and like that's all there is to it.
Do you see any fault in how you acted with the whole Advertise situation?
No, not really.
No?
I don't think so at all. I think if there was fault in how I acted, then Twitch wouldn't have done anything.
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
I think they definitely favor you a little bit. No,
not really. I don't think so at all. I think imagine if somebody had made a stream like that to Pokemon, do you think that they would be even slightly? Do you think they'd be permabanned?
You're kind of proving my point, though. They have a bias towards creators, especially.
Well, I'm saying it's not
creators.
Towards me. I don't think they really have a bias towards women creators, but you know, maybe. It's hard to say.
They definitely do.
You think so?
I know so.
Well, the expert.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really on Twitch, so I can actually say this stuff. I'm not really scared about them bringing the hammer down on me.
Yeah.
But I definitely think so. And I feel as though maybe you were a bit too loose in attacking his ability to pay his own bills because you weren't happy with the way that he was playing the game.
Well, I don't think that's really attacking the way they pay his bills. Like, I mean, if somebody made an entire community and, you know, brought a bunch of stuff and, like, talked about a bunch of stuff that's exclusively, basically, at the expense of another person, right? I looked at a lot of his content and a lot of things he was doing. Like, almost everything that he was doing and, like, his content was all at the expense of someone else. And
is that not freedom of speech?
I think that there is an element of freedom of speech, but, like, this isn't also, it's not a public platform, right? I mean, this is a private platform, and I looked at that and I said, is this healthy for the platform? And I don't think that it is. Anything you can say is freedom of speech.
Is Twitch a publisher or a platform?
You'd have
to ask them. Are they an open forum?
I don't know.
Are they a publisher? Because if they're a publisher, then that means, you know, and if they have full reign, like, I know all these companies are operating in a legal gray zone and they're pretending to be both. They're benefiting from both. But if they're a publisher and they have the ability to just nuke anyone that they want, then technically they would be responsible for everything said on their platform. And if one person says the N-word or if somebody issues a death threat, then technically they would be responsible, right?
I don't know. What I do know is they do have they have a TOS. And what
rule did he break specifically?
What rule I thought he broke specifically is that basically he cultivated an entire community that was centered around hating somebody. And that's pretty much the entire thing. And
can you objectively prove that? I don't even think he hates you. I think he likes you.
Well, if he liked me, why would he make a bunch of videos about me trying to paint me in a bad light?
I think, you know, when Taliesin made that video, and you said, you know, people aren't necessarily protected, or it's not harassment to call somebody out on something. Don't you think maybe he was just voicing his opinion, and you didn't like his opinion, so...
Did I make a Discord
you
to
felt
gank
harassed?
Taliesin in game?
Well, why is that not allowed? Like, why is that not a viable avenue of gameplay?
Well, because it's basically all leading into... It's leading into a clear bias and a clear goal in mind, right? All of his content was made at my expense. Like, I mean,
So
can you agree with that?
Can I take Asmon's approach on this one? I
Go
can't
ahead.
believe this is a fucking conversation we're having.
Yeah.
Like, Advertise was just leeching off of hate content. Period. That's all
Yeah.
he was. And I'm just a random viewer.
I mean,
Like,
I
that's
would
all-
I would agree with you to an extent, right? Except for the fact that if I was just talking, if he was just making the videos, that would be one thing, right? He was doing the videos, doing the streams, making the Discord, having like the whole memes in his guild, etc. It was not just one thing. It was a collection of things. Like any of the one things would be okay, but it's all of them together. Where I think a reasonable person would clearly say this is content made at the expense of another person, and that's
Yeah, just don't get where that's illegal. That's kind of where I'm getting at. Is I understand it sucks for you. I understand it may have been verging on the edge of slightly toxic.
yeah.
I just don't necessarily agree, like, fundamentally when it comes to deplatforming people. Like, you could have reached out to him. You could have, you know, bargained. You could have, you know, I think he said a bunch of times they could have reached out to him. I think rather than, you know, fighting to get him deplatformed just seems a little bit, you know, kind of counterintuitive to a lot of, I'd say, some of probably your perspectives outside of Twitch, right?
I mean, to an extent, but I've never been I've never been somebody who's promoted any sort of like harassment or anything like that. Like, I'm completely okay, and I completely believe in free speech, 100%, right? But I think that whenever free speech goes into and it infringes on somebody else's ability to do something. Bolt, I see you. You can just come out and wait your turn, okay? Okay, anyway, so, like, listen, I agree. But whenever the speech and whatever you're saying is at the expense of another person, I think that it's beyond that. It's not a discussion purely of just free speech. It's what's allowed, what's right, what's the good thing to do. And I think that if you're creating content that's based pretty much solely at the expense of other people, and not necessarily... it doesn't really matter if it's good or bad, right? I mean, like, I think that criticism is okay, but there's a certain degree where criticism goes over the board, over the line.
So should CNN be deplatformed because their entire, you know, media, the entire media outlet is based around bashing Donald Trump? They've created their entire narrative is just impeach Trump. Should they be deplatformed?
apples and hand grenades.
I feel like those are two different things, you know?
Are they though?
Yeah.
CNN's the platform. Twitch is a platform.
I would say so, yeah. I mean,
it's just different.
So the way that I would look at it, right, is if Twitch didn't have any rules, then I wouldn't have any complaints about what Advertise was doing, because he wasn't breaking the rules. Like, why would I be mad about something that's not against the rules? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just feel like you made things worse for yourself in a certain way.
Well,
Like,
don't
he's
you
coming
think that
back.
he made things worse for me?
I mean, maybe slight inconveniences. I don't know. I haven't been following it too closely. I don't know how bad it's actually been. I don't know if he's been camping you, you know, a little bit or a lot, or if it's been like constant. He's everywhere you are. So I don't exactly know the situation. I didn't really follow it that well. All I know is I saw the aftermath, and I'm kind of just playing a little bit devil's advocate here. And I don't kind of pin you as a guy who would necessarily go that route of trying to push for somebody to get banned. So I don't know. I'm just questioning more than anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, like, whenever I agree with you to an extent, right? Whenever you're talking about people who are able to, you know, like, say things and criticize people, etc., I think that's completely okay. But I also think that there's a point where that criticism starts becoming it starts becoming basically the entire content of somebody's stream, and at that point I feel like that's whenever things really just go over the line. And I felt like basically the majority of the content of his stream was centered around me and basically what my guild was doing, interviewing people in my guild and basically just making content at the expense of me. And then also he started talking about other people honor trading, etc. It just seemed like a person who, like, he pretty much had a chip on his shoulder against like streamers and other content creators and wanted to do something to basically try to channel a lot of the resentment and dislike that those content creators receive onto a platform that he also profited off of. And I didn't really feel like that was fair at all, especially based off of the TOS of the website.
Maybe there's merit to that argument. I think there's a lot of assumptions that you made there. I think
what
at the end of the day,
did I make?
Well, that he has like a harbored resentment towards streamers and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not in his head, so I don't know where his actual perspective is from.
Do you think that he does? Do you think that he does? I mean, like,
I think he was just having fun, to be honest, making meme videos. And like, when you're that small, when you're a small fry like that, you know, you're just trying to do anything to create, you know, fun content and get some sort of traction. And I can't hate on somebody for that.
I can.
You know, it's
traction. I absolutely can. Like, if you make content at the expense of another person, then I absolutely can fault somebody for that.
But is it right? Is it right to send the police state after him?
Well, there's not a police state.
Well, Twitch. It's a metaphor.
Well, okay. I think to an extent, yeah. I mean, like, if somebody is going and basing all of their platform and all of their content around basically harassing somebody or making somebody else look bad or whatever, I do think that's wrong. And I don't think that's ever something that Twitch promotes or anybody would want to promote on a platform at all. So,
well, yeah, what I'd say, honestly, just to wrap it up here, because honestly, I didn't even come in here to talk about this. I probably shouldn't have mentioned it, but yeah, maybe he's coming back to Twitch today, right?
I don't know.
Maybe extend a little bit, extend an arm, and maybe have a chat with him.
If you want me to be completely honest, I have no interest in talking to somebody who tried to basically create their entire image as being an antithesis of my stream. All of the content on his stream, that's actually not true. Not all of the content. Let's be real.
Yeah, I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah, no. But a large majority of his content was centered around me, and a lot of the people that he was talking to and a lot of the people in his chat, I think he even mentioned it whenever we talked about it with Asmon, for example. A lot of the people and everything in his chat, they were there because they were banned in my chat. And I think that just by saying that, it goes to show that, you know, like, how many people do you think in his stream are banned in my stream? I would assume that it's a very, very high amount.
But I think talking about one's chat and then representing them based on their chat isn't necessarily fair.
Not according to Twitch.
Say a lot of things about you, right?
Well, no, not according to Twitch. So basically, I was against this. I didn't really think this was a good idea, but also at the same time,
what was a good idea?
For Twitch to hold people accountable for their chats, etc. But I've seen also like some other examples of that not really being the case. I kind of agree with them in a way, but I think that there's also like a common sense thing. I know like Asfon got banned. Or Mizkif got banned for something that his chat did, and I thought that was unfair, but I think that there's always a limit and a line for things, and I think that what he was doing and what he was saying was clearly crossing the line. I think any reasonable person would think that.
Yeah, it just depends on if the streamer's cultivating behavior. And then
I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say any reasonable person would say that. You're kind of like operating with a level of self-righteousness.
No, you're right. I do that. It's lazy conversation. Yeah. You're right. I probably could do a better job with that. But
I just think you're better off dealing with this civilly with him than creating more problems and making more people. You're sort of like it's divisive, right? You're gonna have people that are gonna go on Advertise's side and then on your side, and it becomes a battle rather than sort of finding middle ground and discussing.
Don't you feel like the content that he was saying in the beginning, everything he was doing at the beginning was fundamentally divisive? I mean, he basically created a community around preventing me from being able to play the game functionally, trying to follow me around in game and fuck with me, right? I'm not saying this is against the rules, but I'm saying this is clearly divisive.
The way he enjoyed playing the game, that's kind of how I view it. I mean, didn't you think that was obviously going to happen? Like, you should have seen that coming, no?
People making a Discord and honestly, making a video and promoting videos of it? No,
I thought it was surprised that it was a Shadow Priest and not, like, 6 rogues.
So I would have preferred 6 rogues. I'd have more of a chance. There's no way I'd be able to beat a Shadow Priest.
Yeah, but 6 rogues, and come on.
Okay, all right. Well, every 30 minutes at least, I got retaliation. But yeah, maybe 2 rogues. But no, I just to me, I feel like if you make content that's based around the expense of other people, just in general, right? There's a certain point where it seems like you're clearly monetizing and trying to cultivate a community around people that are like anti-viewers of that individual person, and I don't really think that there's going to be much of a there should be much of a platform for that on Twitch. I think Twitch really has a very big problem with like harassment and stuff like that. I mean, you can look at the kind of stuff that people say about all kinds of streamers, go like browse live stream fails or whatever, and it's very clear that they have a problem with this. And I think that they need to take like a more like active role in kill this guy. He's not getting a 1v1. Kill this guy. He has no problem giving me a 10v1 whenever he's on the other side.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think again, I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I understand.
I think there's strong points on each side. I think, but I think you guys are both at fault in your own ways.
I think I probably shouldn't have been as much of an asshole, right? And I think that often it's like kind of hard to really determine like how much of it is like kind of role play and like inside of the game stuff versus things that are just kind of outside of the game, which is why I kind of distanced myself from the content whenever he started streaming on Twitch, because I felt like at that point it was kind of more so self-serving, if that makes sense. But before that, I was completely okay with it. And it's like I think that a lot of people can easily tell that there's a lot of people out there that don't like me, right? I mean, like you can look at any YouTube comment about like my stream or whatever, like talking about Classic, and it's
I know a lot of people don't like me too. I definitely understand the way it is. It's kind of the WoW community in general. I always sort of make the connection. They're like Star Trek nerds, you say like one thing wrong about one episode and they'll have your head on a pike the next day,
Yeah.
It's kind of just the way it is, I've never I don't think I was ready for it when I first started my YouTube channel. I didn't expect it to be so delicate. If I say my opinion once and a couple people disagree with it, then they'll go all out. So it's very touchy community. It's just the way it is. It's not like the Fortnite community where you do no wrong, right? You just floss on camera and you win.
I think that I mean the WoW community I do think is a little bit they're a little bit too vitriolic towards like streamers and like content creators, etc. Right? And people take things a little bit. I think I don't know. It just feels like the classic WoW community are the same people that think that wrestling is real. Like it's very off-putting, right? I don't know.
I think they're. I think the best way to represent them is the actually meme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I think that's true too. I mean, it's just in general though. I don't know. Like, was I an asshole about it? Like, yeah, sure. Like, I can admit that I was an asshole about it, sure. And it's like hard for me to know like kind of how much of it is like him and how much of it is him like playing up a character, right? And obviously like whenever you just see somebody for the first few times, it's really kind of hard for you to tell like where that line is. So if I did step over that line and insulted him in a way that made him uncomfortable, I completely apologize for that. I shouldn't have done that because I can't do that.
I think you just need to chill a little bit. I think you're doing a great job in general.
Yeah.
But I think you just need to relax a little bit. Just get back to the fundamentals. Like, it's gotten maybe a bit too,
too serious.
Defensive. Too serious.
Well,
it's more fun watching your streams when you're just having a good time, leading your guild, dealing with the social dynamic. McCool's a big part. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I feel like I said most of what was on my mind, and I'm actually at work right now, so I have to go back.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. I really appreciate it, man.
All right. Okay. I wish you all success. Hopefully you can get all this stuff sorted out, and good luck, buddy.
All right, for sure, man. I'll see you later.
All right, see you later, S-Fan.
See you, dude.
Peace.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think like that, like what he said is like definitely true. I mean, like, I probably do take I do take things a little bit too seriously, and that's something. Wait, man, like berries, come on, berries, let me duel him. Berries, let me duel him, okay? Just let me duel him. Give me a minute. Now I've got to wait for my fucking CDs. The berry's messing me up, dude. Okay. Oh wait, he doesn't even care. All right, let's go.